A sister ship was in flames, German vessels were lurking in the shadows, and time was slipping away in the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic. Amid the chaos, HMCS Haida embarked on a daring World War II rescue operation that would come to define its legacy. At the helm was Captain DeWolf, nicknamed Hard Over Harry, as strong and resilient as the Canadian destroyer he commanded. With comrades' lives hanging in the balance and enemy silhouettes on the horizon, he faced an unthinkable choice: continue the rescue while risking an attack from more German vessels, or cease the operation and leave behind friends and allies. The ship would make a decision it would later come to regret, one that would drive it into a merciless campaign of revenge for the remainder of the war. Originally designed in the mid-1930s, the Tribal or Afridi class was first envisioned as a light fleet cruiser, but as Japan, Italy, and Germany introduced innovative naval designs, the Tribal class evolved into agile destroyers. These new ships prioritized gunpower over torpedoes compared to earlier destroyers, emphasizing anti-ship warfare while still maintaining solid anti-aircraft defenses. Carrying nearly 190 crew members, the Tribal-class destroyers were much larger than the standard destroyers of the time, stretching about 377 feet and displacing up to 2,519 tons when fully loaded. Out of the 27 Tribal-class vessels constructed, 16 served the Royal Navy, 3 joined the Australian Navy, and 8 flew the Canadian flag. Not long after their introduction, these destroyers proved their value across World War II's many naval theaters. They earned admiration from their crews and respect from the public. Among them was HMCS Haida, the fourth Tribal-class destroyer to serve in the Royal Canadian Navy. Commissioned on August 30, 1943, Haida was commanded by the experienced Harry DeWolf, who had over 25 years of naval service. Determined to elevate Canada's maritime reputation, he prepared Haida for a key role. By the end of 1943, following rigorous sea trials, Haida was assigned to the 3rd Canadian Destroyer Flotilla and joined the British Home Fleet. With the Battle of the Atlantic still raging, Allied convoys needed protection against the ongoing threats of German U-boats and surface raiders. In this dynamic and dangerous theater, Haida was ready for action. Her main armament included 6 4.7-inch QF Mark 12 guns mounted in 3 twin turrets enough to deter most surface threats. For airborne attackers, Haida carried a single 4-inch QF Mark 5 gun, reinforced by several 2-pounder QF Mark 8 anti-aircraft guns. Hidden below her decks were 4 21-inch torpedo tubes arranged in a rare quad formation, ready to take on larger enemy ships. She also carried depth charges to hunt down submarines lurking beneath the waves. In November, Haida was assigned as an escort for the Russian convoy, RA-54B, one of many Arctic convoys carrying crucial supplies to the Soviet Union. The frigid waters, unpredictable weather, and ever-present threat of torpedoes made these missions especially dangerous. During one journey, the German battleship Scharnhorst attempted to intercept the convoy, while escorts and cruisers kept the enemy ship occupied. Haida and other destroyers safely guided the convoy away. On December 23, the convoy was attacked again, this time by German Ru-88 bombers. But Haida's defenses held firm, and the convoy remained intact. Besides escort duty, Haida took part in offensive missions along the Norwegian coast, engaging German naval forces whenever the opportunity arose. By January 10, 1944, Haida had moved to the 10th Destroyer Flotilla in Plymouth, England. There, she participated in Operation Tunnel and Operation Hostile, both aimed at confronting and neutralizing fast German naval vessels in the Bay of Biscay and along the French coast. Haida's advanced anti-ship and anti-submarine weaponry made her a key player in these missions. And by spring she had already completed nearly 20 of them. In mid-April 1944, Haida and her sister ships, HMCS Ushant, HMCS Athabaskan, HMCS Haida, and the Dido-class cruiser, HMS Black Prince, embarked on another mission under Operation Hostile in the English Channel. Days passed as they patrolled the waters, radar systems active. Their orders clear but dangerous. Locate the enemy and engage. In the early hours of April 26th, they encountered the German 4th Torpedo Boat Flotilla, which included the Elbe torpedo boats T-29, T-24, and T-27. Though called torpedo boats, these ships were similar in size to Allied destroyers. Though somewhat lighter in firepower, T-27 was hit early and forced to retreat. Haida's relentless firepower sank T-29, and though T-24 was damaged, it managed to escape. Just over 2 days later, while on patrol off St. Brieuc near Brittany, both Athabaskan and Haida received intelligence of 2 enemy ships nearby. They advanced cautiously. But soon, the crew of Haida spotted something alarming. Athabaskan had suddenly stopped. It was April 29, 1944, and Athabaskan had just been struck by a torpedo from T-27. The same vessel that had previously escaped. Realizing the urgency, Commander DeWolf immediately launched a counterattack, driving away the German assailants. But despite his efforts, Athabaskan was engulfed in flames. The ship was going down after pursuing T-27 and forcing it aground. Haida returned to the burning wreck of her sister ship. Firing a starshell to illuminate the scene, she signaled the start of a desperate rescue mission. Boats, floats, and scramble nets were deployed as Haida's crew pulled oil-covered sailors from the Seasam alive. Some wounded, all grateful. Commander DeWolf poured every ounce of effort into saving as many lives as possible, even as he knew danger still loomed. The same German vessels that had attacked Athabaskan were still nearby, and every passing second put Haida at greater risk. With daylight nearing and their cover fading, Captain DeWolf made the painful decision to cease the rescue. The rescue came at a heavy cost. Athabaskan lost 128 brave souls, including her captain John Stubbs. Another 83 men were taken as prisoners of war, yet thanks to Haida, 44 men were pulled from the sea and found refuge aboard her decks. The Canadian Tribal-class destroyer continued to carry out Operation Hostile missions alongside her sister ship Huron in the tense weeks leading up to Operation Overlord. As the historic invasion of Normandy began, Haida, standing firm as part of the 10th Destroyer Flotilla, played a crucial role in covering surface attacks at the far western entrance of the English Channel. Just days later, in a carefully coordinated Operation Haida and Huron joined forces to sink the submarine Z-32 in the notable Battle of Ushant. After the fall of Cherbourg, the powerful Kriegsmarine I-boats that had long stalked Haida were relocated, relieving her flotilla of a persistent threat. In the aftermath, the flotilla was tasked with new responsibilities. They protected Allied torpedo boat flotillas and consistently launched search and destroy operations against German vessels along the French coast. On June 24th, Haida and her close partner Eskimo sank another enemy ship and rescued 6 survivors. Throughout July and August, Haida stayed on high alert, intercepting and engaging German vessels. During this period, she sank a significant number of enemy assets, including submarine chasers, minesweepers, and patrol boats, always working in coordination with her convoy. Haida became famous for her exceptional combat effectiveness, sinking 9 enemy ships between April and September of 1944. This impressive achievement was due in large part to the leadership of Harry DeWolf. During his 14 months as commanding officer, Haida sank a total of 14 enemy vessels. His bravery, determination, and inspiring leadership earned him the lasting nickname Hard Over Harry. After being promoted to captain in September, DeWolf was scheduled to return to Canada, meaning he would leave Haida behind. Though he commanded many ships throughout his naval career, his deep bond with Haida became a central part of his legacy. In the years to come, this fearless leader would rise to the rank of Vice Admiral and eventually become the head of the Royal Canadian Navy. But Haida's story in the Second World War was far from over. With new leadership at the helm, departed Western Europe on September 22 for Halifax, Nova Scotia, to be equipped with advanced radar. For the remainder of that year, she primarily sailed on escort missions. Near the end of the war, Haida played a role in one of the final Canadian naval engagements, escorting convoy Ra-66 from Murmansk in late April to early May 1945. During this perilous mission, both Haida and Huron narrowly avoided torpedoes from enemy submarines. The clash resulted in the sinking of 2 U-boats and 1 Royal Navy ship in the frigid northern waters. After her lengthy service, Haida returned to Canada in June 1945 and was scheduled for a refit. But those plans were cut short when Japan announced its surrender later that summer, bringing the global conflict to an end. Following a brief period of rest, Haida was reactivated in 1947. She was refitted with modern weaponry and redesignated as a destroyer escort. Along with her sister ship, HMCS Nootka, she took part in training exercises with the Canadian Atlantic Fleet, the United States Navy, and the Royal Navy. By November 1949, she was back in Halifax and soon called upon to rescue 18 crew members from a U.S. Air Force bomber that had crashed in the Atlantic. Yet just a month later, due to her aging condition, Haida was downgraded to serve as a depot and accommodation ship in Halifax. When the Korean War broke out on June 25, 1950, Haida was once again reactivated and refitted with upgraded armaments and modern sensors. She completed 2 patrols off the Korean coast, escorting aircraft carriers and launching coastal bombardments. In January 1953, after successfully targeting a train near Wonsan and neutralizing a rogue anti-ship mine, she was inducted into the Trainbusters Club, marking her vital contributions to rail interdiction missions. Even after the ceasefire, Haida remained in the region as a symbol of Allied naval strength. After Korea, she carried out anti-submarine warfare missions alongside NATO vessels from the North Atlantic and the West Indies. But by 1958, signs of aging became undeniable. Her hull cracked, equipment failed, and steering problems increased. A refit in 1958 temporarily postponed her decline. But a 1960 voyage to the West Indies was cut short due to more failures, confirming her end was near. In 1963, after one final and emotional tour of the Great Lakes, Haida was slated for scrapping. She was the last remaining tribal-class ship out of the original 27. All others had either been lost in war or retired. Refusing to see their ship destroyed, a group of former crew members stepped in to preserve her legacy. Their efforts led to her restoration, and in 1984, Haida was officially recognized as a National Historic Site. Her ability to adapt to changing combat scenarios, supported by solid design, a measure of luck, and the unwavering spirit of her crew, ensured her survival. Today, HMCS Haida stands tall as the most celebrated ship in the history of the Royal Canadian Navy. This distinction reflects not only her battlefield accomplishments, but also the resilience and dedication of those who served aboard her.